to wait for me because I did an intro song. This is what I did. You know, like other streamers do this as well. They're always late, but you guys don't know it because they have an intro song. And they start the song exactly when the stream is supposed to start. Then they leave it playing up until they're ready to stream. I need to do that. But unfortunately, I focus all of my finances on my video game. So commissioning a new song right now would be problematic. But maybe I can use one of the songs that I already have for my video game. I'll probably do that. I'll see how I need to set it up. Apparently, there's a lot of new software going around where people are using it to stream on YouTube and Kick at the same time, or they're streaming on multiple platforms. And they're getting hit with demonetization because you can't do that. It's duplicate content according to YouTube if they catch you doing it. But the duplicate content wasn't made to prevent people from streaming on other platforms, so they're looking into it. But until then, if you're a content creator, be careful. Give me 1 second, just one chotomate. There's something that I need to figure out. All right. My wife was using the hair dryer and was making a lot of noise, so I had to close the door. Alright, so I had to click, you know why big. I don't actually, Tatsu-sama, but I do appreciate the $5. Alright, so if you are not aware, Baldur's Gate released a new sex scene from their game, and it involves a bear. So in Baldur's Gate 3, you have the option of romancing a shapeshifter which shifts into a bear, and then perversion happens. Now, this scene was filmed in front of progressive video game journalists who are against fan service. You want me to show? I don't know if I can show though. I don't know if it's on YouTube. Bear, the sex scene, Baldur's Gate reveal. Yeah, it's not on YouTube. But I do have it on my video that I made it for my secondary channel. So I took it from Twitter, and I made sure that I censor all the naughty bits. So if you guys want to see how a druid has romance with Ushikushi elf, then you can actually watch it. So no, it's like a real bear. Okay, we're not talking about a man that has a lot of chest on his hair. No, we're talking about an actual four-legged creature that is too much even for the furries. So let me see if I can find a picture of it at least. All right, I think like I can find a picture of that. And give me a second again so I can close the window because there's a lot of bugs and they're making noise. Like I live in a fucking forest now. Alright, the crickets are noisy after a rain. Alright, so I got the... Okay, I got the picture actually. Just so you can understand what we're talking about. Alright, like what Baldur's Gate 3 is doing. And it may surprise you what I think about it. But yeah, this is the scene. Right? There is obviously more to it. It's an entire 3-minute clip. The bear is massive, right? But, yeah, I mean, okay. So, with this out of the way, or actually, we should leave it up, right? We should leave it up so people know what the conversation is about. The game journalists, as you can see here, were cheering. These are the same people who dislike fan service, I would like to point out, right? If you show a little bit, or if you show a little bit of cleavage in an anime, these are the individuals that freak out. However, this scene right here, with an unrealistic, hypersexualized depiction of a male character, they were cheering. Alright, like literally, woo! You know, all of them. So, I don't mind the fact that the bear scene is in Baldur's Gate. Like, I want you to understand, it doesn't bother me. It's a role-playing game. I get the fact that it's fun. That is not what I'm talking about. What I am a little bit bewildered is that the same people who dislike the fact that Cammy is getting her old costume back, who are shaming people on Twitter for liking Dragon Quest Sorcerer, for liking Bayonetta, it's like, oh, don't like it, go watch porn. The same people, literally the same, are the ones that are cheering for a bare sex scene in a AAA video game. It is unbearable. Oh, fuck you, Mech, you stole my joke. But what my favorite part is, it's like, well, this is as a joke. It's not for titillation, it's as a joke. A lot of fan service in anime is also done as a joke. I mean, Uzaki-chan entire, you know, like when he's using the VR set and he accidentally grabs her boob and stuff like that, that is as a joke. But they will attack, shame, ridicule, mock healthy, heteronormative sexuality while encouraging this. I would also point out that there are scenes on YouTube from music videos, from movies like The Walking Dead, where you have gratuitous gore. Like, if I were to go through Walking Dead and do a couple of selections from the scenes, they look hyper-realistic, right? With guts and stuff. That's fine. Like, that goes on YouTube. No one shames you for watching it. No one is going to say that you're a psychopath. No one is going to say anything if you happen to like that type of violence in the movie. And I agree. You know, fiction and reality are two different things. But what I don't understand is, why is the same people that encourage this level of hyper-violence freak out the moment they see fan service in an anime? The moment they see a little bit of a cleavage in an anime, the moment they see Bayonetta 2, they freak out, they shame, they mock, they ridicule. Why do they do that? What type of ideology encourages violence but discourages any expression of human sexuality? I mean, it's unreal. It is unreal. And the thing is, I will say this, I refuse to be shamed by these people. I refuse to be shamed by people who I know what they are cheering for. I do not care about their booze because I know what they are cheering for. And today I have seen it. A bare scene, oh, that is progressive. Yes, that is so good that it's included. Now, I will tell you something else about the whole Baldur's Gate, because people go, it's like, oh, so like one scene, do you think that the game isn't good? I never said that. I never said that. But what I will say is that I do not think that the people who have created this... What the fuck is it? Did I close it? Yeah. I do not believe that these individuals who created this scene... This is on Twitter, by the way. If you like Dragon Quest, horrible. If you like this, progressive. The people who have created this scene, right here, I do not think that they can create a wholesome vanilla-type romance. I do not think that they create the story of Viconia de Vir from Baldur's Gate 2. I do not think they can create the romance with Morrigan from Dragon Age. I do not think that they can create something like Talizora Vas Normandy. Hopefully I'm proven wrong, you know, like the game will come out and maybe I'm proven wrong and they can have, you know, very wholesome romantic scenes. Of course, other people will go, well, why do you care about the romantic scenes? And I will be like, okay, so if the romantic scenes don't matter, why do they spend so much money and effort to create them? If the romantic scenes in a role-playing game do not matter at all, why even spend the money? I mean, there's a lot of resources. I can tell you this, making my own video game. I mean, just making the animation and the cinematics for several different scenes. If they don't matter, why even do it? What's the purpose, right? So let's stop pretending that they don't matter. They do. They offer something as a gameplay enjoyment. Ever since Baldur's Gate 2, romances in role-playing games have been the cornerstone of most RPGs. I do not believe that they can create a wholesome romance scene like you have with Aru Eshal in Pathfinder. They cannot. They just cannot. And this is my take. I am a person who loves to stereotype, but unlike others, my stereotypes are always correct. If stereotyping is wrong, why am I always correct? If I see a bear getting on top of a naked man that is hypersexualized, I do not believe that the same people can create a wholesome romance story. I would like to remind you that when The Last of Us 2 came out, it got a 10 out of 10 for what they call a beautiful recreation of a sex scene. And that is the one with Abby, right? And I looked at it. It was so painful. Like, if you do that in real life to a woman, it hurts. There was no foreplay involved. There was no kissing, no. He literally just bends her over, starts doing her doggy style, and apparently that is 10 out of 10 Kotaku. Like, Polygon and Kotaku gave The Last of Us for that scene. They said that is how human sexuality is like. And I am horrified to know what goes in their bedroom. If they believe that is just normal, that is like literally how adults make love, big yikes. The whole sex scene was cringe. Like that, and it goes from 0 to 100. Very poorly made. And by the way, like, for some reason, that game is not considered porn. That game is not considered, like, it's on YouTube, it's acceptable, it's 10 out of 10 Kotaku. A shapeshifted transition to a bear and they applauded. Why does this surprise you? Well, it surprised me because it's the same people that are against fan service, right? I'm not saying that the bear can't exist. Like, it's fine, you know? Like, if you put it in Baldur's Gate 2 or something like that as a joke, I don't mind, right? Like, it's perfectly okay. But what I don't understand is, like, alright, if this is what they're into, and I'm not trying to censor it, I'm like, okay, well, fine. Why do they come after the stuff that we like? Why do they come after Bayonetta? Why do they come after Lara Croft? Do you want to know what they did to Lara Croft? Do you want to know what they did to Tomb Raider? Want to see? Do you want to? No, you don't want to see, but I'll show you anyway. I will show you the reality we live in. Give me 1 second so I can load it up. Ah, here we go. I just want to make sure that I capture all the aspects of it. Right? Look how they massacred my boy. Look how they massacred my boy edition. This is Lara Croft, Minx collectible figurine. Who's going to collect this? The garbage can, probably. How much are you willing to pay for this? See, the question is, do you want this? Or do you want, like, literally any anime girl? Just any. I'm not even going to name you the waifu, but, like, just whatever. You have, like, all the anime girls put in a box, and you reach in and you pick one, versus this. You know? But like, this is the correct political leaning that we're having now. That's my biggest criticism when it comes to Asian porn. There's no foreplay, no licking. Well, that is pretty much like what most things on the internet are like. This is why I stopped liking the one with real people and I start moving to hentai. Like, at least there you have a story. There's some foreplay involved. To be honest, all the Minix collections have weird proportions. Dude, shut the fuck up. I can show you Minix collections that look good. It's not about the proportions, okay? Like, no one cares about the proportions. I'm not even saying that she has to be hot, but at least make her cute. Like, Minix collections are cute. Why would I spend money to have that atrocity in my home? What have I done in order to have my house cursed with the presence of that Californian abomination? The field, don't remind me what they did to my girl. Well, I mean, you can't pay me to own that. And this is Field, which by the way, he's very rich. He used to give me $50 super chats. I guess he lost his job or some shit. Or he's into depression for what he did to his girl and he can't go to work anymore. But a man with money is saying that you can't pay him to have that. That is actually a good question. Like, how much money would you have to be paid in order to allow that into your house? That's a tough one. So yeah, how about no? Well, Tatsusama, I don't know how much super chats would I require in order to have that into my house. It's deplorable. Honestly, I'm really curious, like, who had... The only way I can see someone having that action figure is if like grandma buys it for Christmas and grandma is like half blind, so she's, you know, forgot her glasses at home. And she goes to Walmart and just picks like something, oh, like, this is going to be a great gift for my grandson. Like, that's it. That's the only way I can view someone owning that. Or someone else that makes a YouTube video to criticize it. DSP would own it for money. I mean, I guess, you know, like if you pay someone, it's like, hey, here's $1,000. Get that shit into your house. My house is a tiny shrine where only the best waifus are displayed. It's not even like whether or not it's a waifu. It's just like, it's an abomination. It's ugly to behold. You give that to, you give it to someone who you hate. Like when you hate your boss a lot and it's his birthday and you give him like the new Lara Croft Minix. That is the only way I can see it. Right, so let's talk about the other things because I think we talked about this a lot. Oh yeah, look what The Last of Us is saying about look what Kotaku is saying about The Last of Us. Despite The Last of Us Part 2 mixed critical reception, review score aggregator Metacritic shows it with a critical score of 95 out of 100 with a plethora of 10 out of 10s. Developer Naughty Dog has been happy to find out. By the way, Did the Last of Us 2 actually make money? Because I heard someone last time telling me that they lost millions of dollars. I refuse to believe that. I think that people bought it. But here's the problem. Now, normally I do not get my sources from 4chan, but I can tell you for honesty that this is true because I do speak with people from within the industry. So I definitely know that this is the correct thing. We can and do make attractive women, at least internally. A lot of the European studios make appealing designs, but they have to be sexed down to make the characters more respected. This is true. This is what I get from Blizzard artists, from Ubisoft artists. They are telling me this. Now, you know, when you first hear it, you're like, well, I can't confirm this. So, you know, I mean, I know the guy works at the company because he can show me. Like, I can verify that. But I can't tell, you know what, if he's saying me is true or not because, well, it's just his word, right? Like, just because you work at a company that means true. But when I hear it from different companies, from different people that work at companies, when you see it on 4chan, when you see it in other places, yeah, it's true. Absolutely. So what happens is, like, the developer goes with, like, a normal, attractive female character, and then the HR lady is saying, oh, well, can you make the tits smaller? Can you make the shoulders broader? Like, literally, so artists are now just masculinizing. They're masculinizing the female character. They're not even, like, trying to cover them up. There was a time where you had to, like, cover women up. So you can still draw sexy women, but they had to be fully clothed. I remember the Wonder Woman suit in New 52 is a good example of that. So Wonder Woman, New 52 costume. She was literally dressed all the way up to the neck. And it's quite funny because, like, initially, Wonder Woman was skimpily clad, as in, like, she was just wearing a little dress in order to show that she doesn't care about society's standards. Like, that's how it all started. This is why, like, Wonder Woman was wearing, you know, just the miniskirt, because it was a very puritanical culture, and it's like, well, yeah, but, like, she doesn't care. She's an Amazon, right? But then they made this costume. Right? So like, the costume with her is that she is still feminine, like, she still has feminine features, she still has big boobs and everything, but she's covered all the way up, like, she's not showing any skin, it's all the way up to the neck. But as you can see, she's still feminine, right? Like, she still has the feminine face, long hair, like, you get to see the fact that, well, she's a woman, and then you get, after the New 52, you get into the fourth wave feminism, when you now have the Tila character, right? Tila, He-Man. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, let me see if I can find the example. So they went from this design. They went from this design that you can see here, right? Which is very cute, feminine, attractive. they went to this design, which someone actually photoshopped. Yeah, this one. Someone actually photoshopped and removed the makeup and the hair, and it looks 100% like a man. Like, this is a male character body where they just use, like, makeup in order to make it look feminine. And the reason is that the problem with this is that it's immersion breaking. Because He-Man is the Prince of Edenia. He can have any woman he wants, and for some reason he is with her. And it's not like some will say, well, yeah, but like, what about her personality? You know, like, men don't just love women for their looks, which is a very interesting and thought-provoking thing to say. But we're not even talking about that. The actual problem is her personality is rotten to the core. Like, her personality is shit. There is nothing wholesome about her. I wouldn't want her as my friend. So, not only do they make ugly depictions of character, their personalities are awful too. Which is sad. Hashtag sad. Can you make it a bit smaller? No, I can't. It is what it is. Yeah, I mean, it literally gets to the point where, you know, we're talking about female characters in video game, but actually, what the fuck are we talking about? Because it's body type A and body type B now. And, It's kind of interesting, because you can still tell which is the male and the female due to the fact that one of them is wearing a bra and the other one isn't, right? It's for ESRB, which apparently the ESRB still cares about men and women. But it actually ended up with a hilarious thing that there is a video game, like someone told me about an MMO or something. I think it's like World of Warcraft, and I might be wrong. I don't know if it's World of Warcraft. But there was a race which had the characters between male and female very identical to each other. So people legitimately didn't know if they're playing a female or a male character. They have to look at the armor they put on the character. Because now it's body type A, body type B, but the species is very similar. Like male and female is very similar, so that is that. You're explaining the dating market in the United States? Oof. Oof. People didn't buy it, Walmart bought it, GameStop bought it, and they got stuck with it and sold it at a discount later. I mean, that is true, actually. You know, the actual consumers of these things aren't you and I. It's the stores that buy in bulk. The end goal is degendering everything. I don't even know if it's there an end goal. The end goal is to get to make sure that the people in HR make money. That is it. It's middle management should make cash, and for whatever reason, the people pushing the ESG scores, and I don't even know why the fuck they're pushing some of them. You know, like I can understand the environmentalism because it's about control, right? So controlling stuff is good, but like I do not understand this war on beauty that they're waging as well. I mean, there have been you know, like the Soviet Union in the past was controlling and was very invasive in people's private life, but they would champion, at least they knew what beauty was, right? Like they would champion beauty. The current ideology doesn't, unless it's like LGBT representation, right? So like this is another interesting take, and you should use it when you're arguing with people on Twitter. When you have a journalist asking for LGBT representation, no one is telling him, hey, if you want porn, go watch porn. You know? Like, it's interesting, isn't it, right? Because if you want beautiful women in video games, they tell you to watch porn. But if you're a journalist asking for LGBT representation, that's fine. And then, when they do get LGBT representation, they want the characters to look good, right? So, notice the new hero that Overwatch is making, which is pansexual. He doesn't have a shirt. He's got a perfect chest, right? So their characters and their representations that cater to them should be great. And I'm like, okay, fine, you know, like, I'm not into that, but whatever, if that's what you like, go have it. Christian Grey isn't criticized, Twilight actors aren't criticized. No, that's fine, you know, because that's their stuff. Just your stuff. Like, you should be shamed if you are a straight man wanting what's normal and healthy for a straight man to like. That is shameful. That is beyond the pale. What are you doing? You got OnlyFans, you got Twitch hot tub streamers, you got Drag Kids Story Hour, you got Cooties on Netflix, but video games out of the question. Anyway. Are you pulling a bear succubus in my game? Fun fact, we actually did come up with the concept of a cow succubus. I think I did post it on Twitter. It was hilarious. But anyway, I want to talk about something else. Ice Poseidon. I made a video about him. Ice Poseidon finds himself in a bit of predicament. He is in a little bit of a pickle right now. He faces 5 years in a Thai prison. Now, if you do not know who this gentleman is, Ice Poseidon is a streamer that does real-life streaming content. Big mistake. I have warned people against doing it because statistics. Overwhelmingly, guys who do real-life streaming have ended up in trouble with the police. It happens, right? Why? Because what is the purpose of streaming? Is to be over the top, right? Because I'm not like this in my real life. I don't speak so loud. I don't, you know, like, but you have to do it. You gotta be entertaining. You gotta make people laugh. Now, when you do it in your own room, that's fine. But when you do it in real life, some people may not appreciate it. And in order to get those super chats, you gotta be over the top, right? You gotta be like the TikTok streamers. And that has consequences, usually with the police. So most real-life streamers that I have seen, overwhelmingly, end up, sooner or later, in trouble with the cops. Are you going to promote your game on other YouTube channel like Stitch and Adam? No, I cannot because of the nature of the game. So word of mouth actually helps. If you happen to know what my game is, what it is, sharing its Twitter account is something that I appreciate. Anyway, right, going back to what I was saying. Getting in trouble with the cops eventually happens. And it's even worse when you go to another country that has a different culture. Now, I can't show you what Ice Poseidon did, but I can describe it. See, the title doesn't do it justice. It says obscene in quotations. Obscene lap dance. So I will describe the lap dance to you. And you can make up your own mind whether or not the obscene deserves the quotations. So you're probably imagining Ice Poseidon sitting down on a chair, and this ushikushi lady comes up and does a lap dance. Okay, if you're imagining this, no, this is not what happened. I want you to imagine a stripper, right? And the clothes that she is wearing, the feminine attire, the lingerie that a woman of low moral fiber would be wearing, okay? Now imagine that article of clothing, but it is on Ice Poseidon. So you can see his hairy chest. Like, let me put it this way. The article of clothing that he was wearing doesn't leave much to the human imagination. It was covering his nipples though, so there's that. But as he is wearing this revealing attire, there is a woman sitting down on a chair, and he is performing the lap dance for her. So this is the thing that the Thailandese authorities are taking umbrage with. Okay, so this is what has transpired. I have tried to describe it to the best of my abilities. I do hope that your imagination is capable enough of reproducing the content in a manner that you can understand what is going on. Okay, so I actually feel bad for him, unironically. I do not know Ice Poseidon as a person. I am pretty sure that I'm going to get people informing me, well, you know, he did this and that, and he's actually a very bad guy. I don't know. But 5 years in a Thailandian prison is much worse than anything that he could have possibly done. Right? For an American, a person who doesn't speak the language, 5 years in one of the worst prisons in the world? Not good. So it's not only that. He had to pay $14,000 for a ticket, for a bond, which is already a lot, but I'm pretty sure that a streamer can afford it. However, he has to stay in the country for 1 year until his court order is due. And then he has to stay probably for longer, up until the sentencing. If I was him, I would start learning Thai. That's the first thing that I would do, like learn the language. I know that progressives believe that asking for an immigrant to learn the language is racist, but I would say that not having an immigrant learn the language is dangerous for the immigrant. Because communicating in court is very important, and on top of that, if you're going to end up in a prison where you don't speak the language, that's really bad for you. So that's my first thing. The other thing is that if he is going to stream in the future, he has to stream about getting swole. How do you go to the gym? What protein shakes you drink? That type of thing is what he needs to start streaming. Because he's going to need it. Hopefully not. Honestly, I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart. I hope he doesn't go to prison. It's a punishment way too severe for what he did. Like, even if you're a conservative person and you're like Jesus and family, you know, what he did, you can say, well, maybe there should be public stigma, maybe, streaming should get a TOS, whatever. I don't think he should go 5 years for prison. Like, 5 years, that is an insane amount of time. But take into account that in Thailand, there have been OnlyFans girls that run in trouble with the law, right? They have a strict legislation when it comes to what they consider obscene gestures online. So it's actually serious. He may get off with the fact that he is American. But I don't think Joe Biden is going to give him the same treatment that baseball lady got. Right? Or basketball lady. What was it? Right? Like, she went to Russia carrying illicit substances, gets arrested, and they gave Victor Bout in exchange for her. Probably the worst deal. Hello, Soldio. Probably the worst deal in U.S. history. I don't think he's going to benefit from a similar deal. I do not think that the Biden administration is going to go, well, we got one of our streamers here, national treasure. Or they're using to set an example? Probably. It was basketball, not baseball. My bad. Look, I do not know American celebrities, alright? The only time I do is when they make it in the news. And I was like, why is this lady in the news? Who is she getting exchanged for? Victor Bout? The fuck? That was my reaction. And for those of you who don't know who Victor Bout is, he was actually the most wanted man on earth. It's like... I'm like, well, I hope they're getting like 20 Marines as well, you know, for the deal to even make half a sense. No one cares about Brittany Griner. The benefit for the world was that the Second Amendment proliferator is free and Nicolas Cage may make Lord of War 2. Yeah. The Second Amendment proliferator. That is a good way to put it. We'll trade some hyper-dangerous chemical weapons dealer for him. It is just... I will never visit Thailand. It's not even that, man. But, like, I have no sympathy. I mean, I do have sympathy when, you know, people are punished more than they should. But if you go to another country, study the fucking laws. Like, when I went to the UK, you know, there is a way and certain words that I use in Romania. Right? When I'm on the street. But when I was with Sargon in a cafe, I kept it down because I know the law and legislations in the UK. And because of that, when talking about certain delicate subjects, I make sure that I keep my voice down or I avoid framing it in a very non-politically correct way. Let's put it like that. But if Sargon came into Romania, I would have told him what I think about some issues. I would have explained to him exactly what I think. Like, I even have slurs that he didn't think about it. Like, we create them here in Romania. How do you think they break out? But my point is, like, when you go to another country, you know their customs, or at least you should, and you should follow them. You're not there to change the rule, right? Like, if I go to Saudi Arabia, I don't start drinking alcohol. Right? No, like, if women have to cover themselves up in Saudi Arabia, I ask my wife to cover her up. It's just like, it is the way of things. Oh no, it's not the N word. No, no, no. Like that is like the lowest. Like that is like not even the foundation. Like that is very low on the problematic scale of language that Romanians are capable of. Like if I were to actually start talking the way I normally start talking on the street, I mean, I think like the CEO of YouTube himself would come down to shut the stream. Is that bad, chat? Is that bad? But again, you need to know the environment you're in. When you're in a progressive environment, in a progressive ambiance, well, you act accordingly. If you go to a theocratic place, you behave differently, right? We used to have this expression in Romania, not with your mother in the room. I think it's very self-explanatory. I'm pretty sure Romania has some hate speech laws as well. Yes, but like a lot of the things that aren't allowed in Britain, they're perfectly fine here. Like if you want to talk about, I don't know, what do you think about the progressive stack? Okay. And not to mention, the hate speech laws in Romania, from what I noticed, are usually applied to politicians, bloggers, and journalists. Like if you're an average person and you go on the street and you start talking about whatever the fuck you want, I like you can do it next to a cop. He probably doesn't even know it's illegal. Like I have not heard in my country that the only person that actually did get in trouble for hate speech was a blogger which actually did encourage violence towards women. Like that was the only person that I know which wasn't a politician. But again, like he was a famous person. He said this and caused a scandal. I think he was in favor of domestic abuse, right? Like that was what he said. And because of that, it created a national scandal. You know, like it was a little bit too far. A little bit too spicy. And I don't think he was joking about it either. So in that situation, yes. But other than that, I have not heard of a single case. Like, just so you know, like how bad it is, Romania has a law against Holocaust denial, right? Like, if you do it, you go to prison. Overwhelmingly, at the University of History, most university professors would say shit that would get them arrested. But the law doesn't apply. So, that's the country that I live in. Tell the chat about our slurs, V. I cannot, Jacob. I cannot, I may get a community guideline strike. But basically, you know, like in Romania, legally speaking, you would get in trouble if you start talking negatively or disparaging about the Roma ethnicity. But if you talk negatively or disparaging about, I don't know, let's put it this way. If you were to misgender someone, you can do it in public. Like, it's not a crime. Most people probably wouldn't even, like, what are you shouting? Just shut the fuck up. You're making noise. Coward? Well, Richard, how about you build a channel to 30,000 subscribers, and then you say whatever you want. 69. Oh, I see what you did there. But yeah. No, it's like, it's not like even being a coward, because I know what would happen if I were to. Like, it's the community guideline strike. Like, it's not even a whether or question or an if. It's like, this will happen if I say it. Yeah, I mean, we don't have laws, but it's interesting, right? Like, we don't have laws against wolf whistling and other shit, and it's people just don't do it. Unless you go to, like, more impoverished areas of neighborhoods. But other than that, like, people are very nice and kind here, you know? Yeah, we don't have an N-word. Like, believe it or not, the N-word is an American invention. So here's the thing. In Romania, we do not have a word that you cannot say under any circumstance. Like, that doesn't exist. Hate speech is based on context. Right? So just by saying a word doesn't get you in trouble. There is no word in the Romanian language that would get you in trouble. The N-word, it doesn't matter here because, like, no one even understands. Like you would need to learn English in order to know that that word is bad. Let's put it like that. And due to the fact that we have a very small black population, people don't get it. By the way, you know, like I was joking yesterday, because one of my mods typed the N-word, but it was justified. Even the left would agree it's justified. Although the left believes you should not say the N-word in any circumstance, here's my question. What if you have to type it so a Discord bot bans the word? And in order for the bot to function and ban the word, you have to type it. Should my moderator be cancelled or not? Did she commit the umbrage against political correctness? Now, it's interesting because ChatGPT would probably not let you do that, because ChatGPT believes that in no circumstances whatsoever should you type the word. However, I believe I have found the circumstance. When typing it into a bot, which will ban people for using it, I think it's correct. Either that, or maybe you should hire a black person to type it. See, now I figured it out. I think she should be canceled. I think my Janny should be canceled because she needed to hire a black person to type the word and put it into the bot. Fun fact, the N-word comes from the Spanish word for black. Oh, that actually created a controversy. In Romania, the word for black is negru. Now, negru doesn't mean the N-word. It means black. Like literally the color black. Right? So there was a football game where the referee said, that black guy over there. Right? So the connotation was that one of the players that was on the bench was disruptive. Like he was starting to curse and he was being disruptive to the game. And the referee kicked him out. But the referee didn't know the name of the player. He didn't have a jersey to identify him. And he said like, that black guy over there, because he was sitting next to 4 white dudes. So he gets into trouble because the guy initially thought that, oh, he said the N-word. But then when realizing that he didn't say the N-word, he was speaking in Romanian, he was like, oh, well, why aren't you colorblind racist? Right? Because that's fascinating. Like, you're not supposed to be colorblind racist, but in that situation, he had to be. So he went to re-education camp afterwards, sensitivity training or some bullshit. But like, just so you know, yeah, you can get problems. There was a Japanese person which got banned from Overwatch for saying nigero. Now, in Japanese, nigero, it means run away. But the American imperialist language dictated that that is a slur. And you're not supposed to use it, so he got banned. It is interesting how American language dominates countries that don't... Like, for example, Sweden. Right? Sweden doesn't have a history of black slavery. I mean, they conquered the British... You know, they had their empire and whatnot, but it's not the same history like the United States. And Sweden doesn't speak English. But the N-word now is considered hate speech in Sweden. Just so you can understand how dominant American culture is, how it can impose its morals and values on different people across the world. Now, I don't have to delete the stream because... you need to pronounce it properly. I pronounced it ni-gero, which means to run away in Japanese, right? So that's fine. But if you pronounce it the way it's pronounced, then the bot that it's also funny because a lot of the Japanese VTubers had their entire channels demonetized and got into trouble literally for the same thing, that they were speaking broken English. I mean, not broken English as in, they have their accent, right? And it's very thick. So the bots weren't able to discern what they were saying. And because of that, they would constantly get fines. It was hilarious. They didn't really conquer the British. Man, they set a lot of colonies, didn't they? It is what it is. Don't forget that in some games, the name of a certain African country is also banned. Oh, I remember. So there is an actual country that has the N-word. And there was a representative from that country which was running in a competition. And there were people on Tumblr outraged, thinking that the the competition organizers or the media use the N-word to describe that person that was competing on their behalf. But it's like, no, that's the name of the country, you uncultured American. No, it's not Nigeria. There's a country that has even less letters than Nigeria. Like, look it up. Yeah, it's fascinating. Americans, they claim they care so much about Black History Month, but they don't even know the names of the countries in Africa. Yes, it's Nigeria, but like literally without as many letters. Let's put it like that so that the bots on YouTube don't come after me. It's if internet aristocrat left Nigeria. Yeah. But it's the name of a country, and Americans are outraged about it. Yeah, it's single G hard R. It's a good way to describe it. Yeah, single G hard R. But it's fascinating how, like, a word, regardless of the context used, this is what I still don't understand about American ideology. Like, how can a word, regardless of any context, be considered enough to get a person fired and their livelihood ruined? Especially when you take into account that more than 70% of human communication is contextual. People are saying about the Baldur's Gate 3, it's literal bestiality. It's played as a funny gag, but there's a serious chance it could blow up in their face at a later point. If any content the woke crowd deems problematic pops up, they'll use the old scenes they once used. No, I don't think so. So the thing is, the Baldur's Gate 3 scene where the main character has cushy with a bear, it could get banned in certain countries. I can see that, but probably not. And the game already has the LGBT representation, meaning that those countries that would ban the thing would probably ban the game already. So I don't think so. I don't think that the bear scene is going to get the game into any type of trouble. What's the new Discord? I miss movie night. The new Discord is only about video games, and unfortunately you would have to go onto my Twitter in order to find it. And we don't have movie nights anymore, Spartacus. But yeah. Yeah, there are countries. See, this is another thing. Like, America's complained about Ron DeSantis being anti-LGBT or blah, blah, blah. But there are countries in the world that literally criminalize. Like, Ice Poseidon found out. Where are you from? No, I mean, what country? I know your dad was involved, but where are you from? Yes, Africa, but what country in Africa? I'm glad you look like your dad, but where are you from? Did you get to be asked that? What? Usually when you say Africa, most people would think about South Africa, right? So, I have met people from South Africa, and when you ask them where they're from, they say Africa. It's kind of the same like in America, right? Like if somebody's from US, and you're like, oh, so you're an American, right? But, I know that progressives are trying to obfuscate things and be like, oh, well, actually, America is a continent, and it has more nations than the US. And it's true, but it's like well established through dialect that when someone says that they're from America, I don't think that, oh, well, maybe they're from Brazil or Mexico. No, like or Canada. Like, you know. Oh, but why? Because it is. Shut the fuck up. Oh, so you think America is more important? Yes. Economically, militarily, politically, like which do you want to pick so we can see whether or not America is more important? Like, on which side do you want us to investigate the problem further? Fuck me. Or my favorite is when a progressive goes, it's like, oh my god, this map. Why is America in the center? Well, because something has to be in the fucking center, and it was probably made in the United States. You can actually notice that, like, where maps are made. It's kind of funny. Like, if a map is made in Europe, it probably has Europe in the center. If it's made in the US, it has America in the center, and if it's made in China, it has China in the center. But like at the end of the day, who the fuck cares? And it makes fucking sense. Like if you're a person buying a map from America, you're more likely going to look at the things that are close to you in geographical region rather than the things that are further away. Doesn't it make sense? But no, the progressives assume malice. It's like this is, American bigotry. And even if it was American bigotry, who the fuck cares? It's a map. Shut the fuck up. Don't like it, don't buy it. No maps are made in Africa. You disparage the African people, man. Apparently, and I'm not even kidding. Africa has, what is it called? A space program. I believe it's in Botswana. I may be wrong. But yes, no, South Africa. It has a space program. The thing with Africa, though, is that it was actually doing very well until the globalists started fucking with it and used it as a benchmark. Like, what's happening now in South Africa is overwhelmingly due to corruption. Like, obviously, the people in power are benefiting a lot from what's happening in South Africa. But it's also due to foreign ideology being pumped into the country. It's sad. Because it was going on a very upward trajectory, South Africa. It was doing very well. But the woke ideology was pumped enormously in their universities. Wokeness is a way of life there. The people want socialist governments and shit. And the people in power are incredibly corrupt. So you get what you get. Yeah, communists happen to Africa, pretty much. But Botswana is doing very well. It's actually a nice place, Botswana. No, but the thing with South Africa, they fucked their energy system. Like, that is the number one problem. They completely fucked their electrical grid. You can't have a nation without electricity. Imagine operating a business. You can't operate a restaurant. They do these things called load shedding, meaning that they shut down power for 6, 7, sometimes 12 hours a day. There is a simple solution for it, by the way. Allow the privatization of electricity. Like, let private companies produce electricity. And there was a company that actually, I made a video about it. There was a company which had solar panels and was giving electricity to the entire city. And there was a city in South Africa that never suffered from electrical power failures. What happened? The government sued that company. They're not allowed to sell power. They're not allowed to sell electricity because it makes the government look bad. Unironically. So, that's the main problem with Africa. It's like, oh, zero carbon emissions. 2023, zero carbon emissions. Well, they're doing that. And there's massive power outages. Again, imagine if your electricity goes down 8 hours a day, right? Now, from the perspective of a homeowner, that's one thing. But now imagine if you're trying to run a restaurant. The food gets spoiled. You can't have an air conditioning. Like, how do you operate the restaurant? It is very, honestly, it annoys me. Because it's one thing when a nation gets conquered and the oppressor does the oppressing. Like, I understand that. Right? At least you know who to hate. Like, okay, well, it's wrong. And most people believe now that, okay, imperialism bad. But when people do it to themselves, it's like the government does it to its own people. That's a new layer of fucked up, isn't it? Yeah, can't have carbon footprint from electricity if you have no electricity. Make a restaurant that only sells things like beef jerky and canned food. Yeah, but here's another brainer. Canned food requires electricity to make. Unless you build like a cannery from the old times when the whaling boats went out to sea and you have like that type of technology. If you require mass production of canned food, which is required to feed millions of people, you need electricity. Even hospitals are, but everything is affected. But it's interesting because people don't understand just how fucked up it is because they would think, oh, well, just get the generator. Yeah, sure, like if you want to have like power in your house, to have Maybe, you know, your refrigerator running and to keep the lights on. Yeah, you can have a generator. But imagine if you have a restaurant. You need like a massive generator. You need a generator the size of a room. Not only is it expensive, but it costs a lot of gas too, which, by the way, is up. Imagine if you need to get your car, right? So you have a car and you need to get gas for it. Where do you go? You go to the gas station. What happens if the gas station doesn't have power? How do you power up your car? How do you get gas if there's no power at the gas station? That's South Africa for you. Oh, and of course they're blaming it on race-based politics. Because like, this is what race-based politics does. It allows the government to be able to get scot-free with its incompetence. Go solar. Do you know how expensive it is? I mean, it's not like people don't have food, because yeah, like you can still manage it somehow. But recently the government wants people to starve as well, because they're having like water-based quotas based on race. The problem is that most of the farmers in South Africa are white, which are the most affected by the government-based quotas based on race. And because of that, it's going to be very difficult for them to feed the population, because when you think about farmers, you know, it's not like they have water to create a magical water fountain in their backyard and enjoy it. No, they need the water to feed the animals and to water the plants, the crops. But yeah, I mean, I do think like the government just wants the farmers to be attacked by the local population, because that's what would probably happen. You know, like if you're a farmer, obviously you're going to feed yourself and your family first, right? Like if all of a sudden you can't produce enough because the government doesn't give you water, well, you're going to feed yourself and your family. And then the rest of the people are going to starve, and they're going to look at you and they're going to be, oh, look at these fat farmers stuffing themselves and gorging on our food. That's what's going to happen. But it is, yeah, like South Africa, visit the fucking future. It's not about, like, a lot of racists on Twitter are blaming race. No, it's about the policies. It's literally used as a test chamber for the rest of the government policies that I see being applied in the European Union. Like, for example, no gas vehicles by 2023. And you have to wonder, okay, so I understand the fact that you don't want me to drive a car, but how is agriculture going to work? Like, you need a tractor, you need massive vehicles in order to do the agriculture. You can't do it with an electric car. How are the things going to be transported? Like, most of the trucks are not ran on electric. Do you want another trucker shortage like we had during COVID? It is what it is. I have solar panel in my electric-free cabin. Yeah, but again, your electric-free cabin is not a restaurant. I mean, it's very difficult to power a business using electric panels. You know, for a small home, a cabin, sure, but like, imagine powering a massive enterprise. If only another African country tried persecuting the white farmers. Oh yeah, you're talking about Zimbabwe. They did literally that. And then they had the famine, and then they were begging for the farmers to come back. But it is what it is, you know. Like, the government is making a lot of money from it. The government is wealthy. Like, their kids are wealthy. Their friends are wealthy. It's just the people that are suffering. You need X amount of power. You need white panels. Yeah, but like, imagine if every single business in the world would need white panels. Just imagine how the world would look like if every single business would require like massive number of panels in order to... I have a solar panel for my chicken coop, not a restaurant. Well, yeah, but... Anyway, I need to get on the Archcast in 1 hour and a half. And I still have one more video to upload on my secondary channel. So, thank you guys for the super chats. Really appreciate it. And hopefully, I will see you on the Archcast. Take care.